Hi, my name is Elizabeth Akers-Moore, Chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals, and I am calling this public meeting to order at 7:00 p.m. in accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order of March 12th, 2020, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. We are conducting this meeting virtually, and this meeting is being recorded. Following the presentation by the applicant, for which I will allow the town planner or the applicant to share the screen if they wish to make their own presentation, the board will ask questions of the applicant. Following this, I will ask for public comment. Consistent with the Select Board's temporary policy directive and guidelines for public meeting and public hearings conducted via remote participation due to COVID-19 state of emergency, the public is invited to view the meeting as an attendee only and will not be permitted video access. If an attendee has a question during the public comment period for each application, they can use the question and answer function where you will need to you'll have to type in your name and address prior to your question so it can be read by me and included in the recording of the meeting. Or you can use the raise hand function and I will unmute one attendee at a time so they can ask their question. Questions will be answered to the extent possible. All video screens will be turned off with the exception of the board, town planner, and the current applicant. Once the board has acted on an application, the applicant will be returned to an attendee and is free to leave the meeting. At this time, I would ask for a roll call vote of the board members. Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Kindermans?
Present.
Can you try that again?
Present.
I'm having trouble with, you're kind of freezing.
There
There you go. All right, Mr. Kindermans.
Present.
Mr. Faia.
Present.
And Mr. Freeland is not present. Oh, that's right. Only Mr. Smith, Mr. Kindermans, and I will be voting on each application unless one of us has a conflict of interest, at which time I will designate an alternate member. With all of that, and just saying we will do our best at all of this, we are going to start with the 7 o'clock hearing. Charles Audi to amend a special permit. Mr. Audi has asked us to continue this hearing until our next meeting. So when is our next meeting?
June 11th.
So
right.
I'd move that we continue the hearing for Charles Audi for until June 11th at 7 p.m.
Correct.
7 p.m.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fantastic. Oh man, we're a couple minutes ahead here, Elizabeth.
Sorry.
Can we do it anyway? We'll wait. We'll wait 1 minute until it's 7:05
Thank you.
for the Concord Country Club.
Oh, but just while we're still on the record here, so they've, I maybe didn't get something, but they've asked to also extend to another meeting. Is that correct?
No, so when you get to the item, the Concord Country Club has submitted a request for withdrawal without prejudice,
Okay, thank you.
which the board does need to accept and vote on.
Got it.
Elizabeth, if you don't mind just doing the roll call format for each vote.
Okay.
Correct. Thank you.
Do we need to go back then? Do you want to go back?
So if you formally would like to take a roll call vote for the first item.
Let's formally take a roll call vote on the Charles Audi's request to continue the hearing. So Jim, I guess I need you to say your name and what you were proposing.
So a roll call vote, Elizabeth, you would call.
Oh,
So
sorry, I'm saying first.
the motion was made by Jim,
Smith.
seconded by Theo. And so then you would call for a roll call vote. So Jim Smith,
Aye.
Theo. Kinderman.
Aye.
and
We don't
Elizabeth
need to say what we did again, like
And
June
Elizabeth.
11th, 7 p.m. And Elizabeth Akers-Moore.
has
Yes.
to say aye.
Aye.
We'll get there.
Maybe. But it's 7:05, so look at that. We wasted the
Right.
time. All right. Moving on to 705, Concord Country Club for a special permit. The applicant has requested that the application be withdrawn without prejudice. So
I would move that the board accept the withdrawal without prejudice of the application of the Concord Country Club for special permit under section 7.5, 7.6, and 11.6 of the zoning bylaw for construction of an irrigation pond requiring the removal of 51,000 plus cubic yards of soil within the groundwater conservancy district at 246 Old Road, 9 Acre Corner.
Second.
okay, roll call vote. Jim Smith,
Aye.
Theo Kindermans,
Aye.
Elizabeth Akers Moore, aye. Great. It only took me to the second one. Now I got it.
So,
I tell you, we're zooming here. We're zooming.
if I,
Resuming, yes.
Sorry, what, Elizabeth? What do we do?
yep, no, if I
Well-
could also just interject for a point of discussion, that the town staff, the building commissioner, a recommendation was that if the applicant does withdraw without prejudice, that they are intending to work with town staff to address issues and concern. In the meantime, the building commissioner and town staff will work with the golf course to have them submit a stabilization plan for that area. They did already remove approximately 1,200 cubic yards of dirt and remove vegetation that should be stabilized for the period of time until they can refile. So just to give the board that information.
Any sense on when they're going to refile?
No, there's quite a few things that need to be addressed, and as well as some policy discussions about how to protect the town's well.
Okay. Sorry, Jim, were you saying something?
I was just asking Elizabeth if the Concord Country Club agreed to that. Is that?
Well, because the work was done without the benefit of
No,
permit.
I mean, if they agreed that that was the conditions for all of this, right?
If what was a condition?
I thought that you said that they agree, that in withdrawing that you and they had sort of agreed that you would, they would work with the town staff, et cetera, and that they would provide a stabilization plan. But are you saying something different from that?
No, they within their withdrawal letter, they are definitely going to work with town staff to address the issues and concerns and have the conversation with the public works director on the policy aspects.
Right.
But part of my recommendation was just to have the board inform the building commissioner, which the building commissioner can do without action by the board or without concurrence from the golf course, because they did remove soil and vegetation without the benefit of permits greater than 1,000 cubic yards. The building commissioner has the ability to go in and just have them submit a stabilization plan during this time because they wish to work with the town. Alternatively, if somebody did do this type of removal and was not going to move forward and was not going to work with the town, the building commissioner actually has the ability to have them do a restoration plan. But because they want to work with the town and move forward with the project, we feel just having a stabilization plan for that area is sufficient for the time frame in which they want to proceed and refile.
Okay.
Well, so if you need it, I guess I would certainly move that the board recommend that the town building inspector, building commissioner seek, require a restoration plan with respect to the 1,200 cubic yards and the vegetation that's been removed to date.
Elizabeth, is that something we can do?
It's not necessary. at this point in time, I don't think a restoration plan is what we need because they do wish to move forward with the project and work with the town.
Well, I thought I said a stabilization plan, but sorry.
No, okay, yes. No, the board doesn't actually have to vote or take action. I just wanted to let the board know and let the public know that that was the direction that the building commissioner and I had talked about.
Perfect.
Great. Okay, it is now 7:10. I'm going to go ahead with the application by Mary Beth Barker for the renewal of a special permit. To Chris, do we have the applicant?
I don't see them. I don't know if the applicant can raise their hand.
Mary Beth Barker.
She's listed as Mary Beth Irwin.
Oh yeah, I see. She raised her hand.
Got it.
Hi, Mary Beth.
Hi.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
Hello.
All right. Go ahead with your presentation.
Okay. I'm Mary Beth Barker. I live at 49 Seymour Street in Concord, and I was given a permit for a short-term rental for a space that is in my home that I rent out on Airbnb. And I was given the permit last year, and so I'm here looking for a renewal of that special permit and to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Okay. Ray, have there been any issues with this?
No, I haven't gotten any calls or complaints.
Okay. I took a look at your listing online. It seems like people like your place a lot. So let me, any questions from the board members?
Nope, all set.
All set. Okay. I think
Well, actually, my only question is can we do this for, is it appropriate to consider doing this longer than a year?
I was going to say that too. Should we do 2 or?
What's normal, Elizabeth?
You know, Elizabeth, because I don't know offhand. It might be 3 years, but is it all right if I check the records and we
I'm
just,
happy to do 3.
I'm happy to do 3 as well.
Yep, correct. Me too.
Mary Beth?
Yes, thank you very much. I hope I can resume it because the,
Oh.
No, yes.
That's a very good point.
yeah.
Okay, I will entertain a motion then.
I will make a motion to approve the special permit for Mary Beth Barker on the sections 5.3.15 and 11.6 of the zoning bylaw to operate a tourist home or bed and breakfast at 49 Seymour Street, parcel 3253.
For a period of
For a
3.
period of 3 years.
Under the same terms as we initially granted. Right.
Right.
I second that.
Okay. Theo.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Aye.
All right, we still need to vote. Theo Gibbons,
Aye.
Jim Smith,
Aye.
Elizabeth Akers Moore. Aye. All right. You are all set.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that.
I know.
All right, we have a couple minutes in which time I would like to say congratulations to Ravi on the birth of his new baby daughter.
Hey.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
She's not here, otherwise I'd show you.
Yeah,
I got enough kids in my house, Ravi. It's all right.
You're going to see another kid.
Yeah. In fact, I'd prefer not to see another kid. I'll send mine over to your house.
So just so I understand, public comment is happening just through the Q&A? Or if somebody raises their hand, or what's the?
Oh my gosh. Public comment. You're right. We didn't open that to public comment. Good job,
well,
Robbie.
I have to wait probably, just to see if anybody's still lingering.
Look at you. All right. Fantastic. Elizabeth, can we go back and open that?
Well, so nobody raised their hand and there was no question or answer. So I think you're okay with that one.
Good call,
Somebody could-
Robbie.
We still have the same number of participants minus the applicant. So they can obviously raise their hand now if we skipped over them unfairly until we start the next one.
Correct.
Excellent point. So if anyone had a comment, if you would raise your hand now. All right, there we go. Okay, moving on, 7:15, Habitat for Humanity. Chris, do you see that? I'm not sure who's here presenting for them.
Heather, do you have the applicant's name?
Is it Brenda? Who's
Yep.
raising her hand?
Yes.
Okay. I think I figured it out, Chris. All right, Brenda.
Hello?
Hi.
Oops, okay, wait a minute. Sorry, I'm a little new at this myself, so I can only see.
We're doing a perfect job, so I don't know.
Okay. You're doing great, so
Yeah, no,
hi.
we're good.
Thanks so much for having me tonight. I know this is a little technically challenging for me, so I apologize. I'm Brenda Gould. I'm the Executive Director for Habitat for Humanity of Greater Lowell. Sounds a little weird, but Concord and Carlisle are in my service territory. And we are happily building a home at 930 Main Street, which is basically, I'm going to just say almost at the corner of Route 2 and Route 62 in West Concord. We worked to get this property with many partners, the town, the CPC, the Concord Housing Development, the Concord Housing Foundation, and Habitat. So we now own the property, and I'm asking for a variance on a sign. I think you should have a visual in front of you. It's 4 by 8, so it's 32 square feet. We always put a sign up on our property so that we can give credit to all the people who made this happen. We're a little bit behind right now. It is a temporary sign, but the plan would be to put that up sometime this summer and keep it up. I'm still hoping that we'll be done by next summer. The project will probably be about a year long, but we have not started. We have some variances that we have to go through as well for that. So we won't put up a sign until we're ready to go. But I'm asking, I think your normal is 4, I don't know what the normal sign can be, but
Probably 12 square feet.
yeah, we wouldn't even be able to fit the town organizations that donated to there. So we'd love to give credit. We'll put it however you think we should. As you know, we are pretty close to Route 2. We won't, go out onto Route 2, but if there's a way you want us to position it, happy to do that. But really would love to give credit. Lots of generous folks are making this project happen.
Okay.
So Elizabeth, if I can share my screen
Please.
and then bring up the sign and then unshare the screen. My only other comment would be that the board just direct the applicant to work with Public Works Engineering and the Community Safety Officer on the placement of the sign.
How do I let you share your?
I'll do that.
Oh, yeah, okay, great.
So Elizabeth, I'm sorry, what did you say? Public Works? Who else?
You would work with the Public Works.
Yeah.
And the Concord Police, the Community Safety Officer
Okay.
on the placement of the sign.
Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much what the sign looks like. The names may change because we've had a few more, donors. We don't keep putting it up and down. We put it up in the beginning. We might update it halfway through if we get a lot more people. But as you can see, we've left a little bit of white space, and our hope would be that we would just kind of under the Concord sign, we might add in if we get some other donors. So yeah, over there.
Okay, that's great. Questions from the board?
Not here. I'm all set.
Same.
Ray, any other thoughts? You all?
No, I mean, Elizabeth's, her point, permission from the safety officer and Concord Public Works, but you want to make that a condition prior to the building permit, the location,
Go through
Yep.
you.
if it gets approved by them.
Okay, let's talk about the zoning bylaw and if this meets the variance standard.
Well, this is sign bylaw.
Correct, but
Which
even
is-
in the sign bylaw, it's still Board of Appeals, variances in specific cases, section 3.2. Board of Appeals may vary the provisions where necessary to comply with, the Board of Appeals determines the circumstances involved with a particular sign were not contemplated by the bylaw or unnecessary hardships. So the argument here would be how many organizations are on this sign not being contemplated by the bylaw.
Correct.
Any other board member have a thought on that? Uh-oh.
All right, Jim got the bylaw.
I got the, Jim,
No, I'm just making sure I have it for future use. I'm okay.
you're okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion then. Oh, sorry, no, I will not. I will open this up for public comment. Ooh, I'm a slow learner, Ravi, sorry. Does anyone have a public comment? Raise your hand if you do. Press the raise hand if you do. Okay. Chris, you don't see anything that I don't, right?
No, you're fine.
That's right.
Great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close the public comment portion, and now I am happy to entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to issue a sign variance on the section 3C2 and 7C of the sign bylaw to install a temporary 32 square foot sign that is greater than the allowed size at 930 Main Street.
Oh. Are you paused or are you just not moving? I think he's paused.
His connection cut out.
All right. Let's see what happens. Oh, you're back. Sorry, you froze there for a minute. So
Yeah.
if you wouldn't mind just making that again.
I'm making a motion to approve a sign variance or to grant a sign variance on the section 3C2 and 7C of the sign bylaw to install a temporary 32 square foot sign that is greater than the allowed size at 930 Main Street for Habitat of Humanity of Greater Lowell, with the condition as just discussed.
Second.
A second.
Okay, Theo Kindermans,
Aye.
Jim Smith,
Aye.
Elizabeth Akers Moore, aye. Thank you very much.
Great.
Good luck.
Thank you very much. I'll get in
Good
touch
luck.
with Public Works and the safety officer before we get ready to do anything.
That's great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Look
Okay.
forward to seeing you in person.
Good
Great.
luck.
Okay, moving on. Peggy Dowcett for a special permit. Is Peggy here?
Or at least,
Hi, Peggy.
Hi there. How are you?
Good. Go ahead with your presentation.
Actually, Elise Stone is going to be coming in as well, if someone could let her in.
Hi.
Hi, Elise.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but not see you. Oh, there you are.
Here I am. Okay, hi, how are you doing?
Good.
Okay, so I'm presenting for Peggy. Okay, so 30 Walden Terrace is the address. The original house was built in 1950. The house is currently a single-story house, but it does have a partially finished second floor. The house sits in Residence B, and it is it conforms to all the setbacks. However, the property is non-conforming in both the area and the frontage. So the area of the house is 8949, and in Residence B, it actually has to be 20,000 square feet. So it's under by quite a bit. And the lot frontage, the required is 125, and the what they have is 99.4 feet. So we're before you because we are going to add more than 50% of the allowable within the non-conforming structure bylaw. So the existing house and garage are 1,733 square feet. So 50% of this is
Elise, I'm gonna jump in at this point.
Yeah.
So similar to a regular Board of Appeals meeting, I'll share my screen and I'll bring up the plan sets for you.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
And then
Yeah.
you can just tell me what you need.
Okay, great, great. So I'll just go through the square footages and then we can go through the plans. So the house is currently, as I mentioned, 1,733 square feet. Oh yes, this is the site plan right here. And 50% of this is 866.5 square feet. The total new square footage by right is 2,599.5 square feet. So what we're proposing is 2,777 square feet. This is 177.5 square feet over the by right. So it's only 177 over what we would be allowed. The general idea of this is we are going to put a new roof on, so we're going to turn it into more of a cape. Currently, it's more of a ranch, and add the dormer in the front. We're adding a little bit of an overhang on the front, but that's it. The actual footprint is basically staying the same, except for a little bit of an addition on the front for a portico. And we're, this is to get the bedrooms, 3 bedrooms on the second floor. And then just to go through, just to finish the kind of numbers, the FAR for this site is 3311. So the proposed house and garage are 2777 square feet. And so this is 534 square feet under the allowable FAR. So we're a little bit over on the 50%, but under on the FAR. So you can see we just, the height, everything else does conform. We're just adding dormers and a new roof on this cape.
Can I interrupt for a minute? Elizabeth, Can you promote Stuart?
Oh.
He's in as an attendee.
Chris, can you do that? I don't know now that I'm in this shared screen, I'm having trouble.
Yeah, I'll get him now.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Stuart. Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Elise.
That was basically all. I mean, that's the whole presentation. If you have any questions,
Okay.
we tried to keep the house in keeping with houses. Walden Terrace is a big variety. There's been some new houses, a couple of tear downs over the years. This is definitely still on the smaller side of this street, I would say. And certainly there's one on the corner there of Thoreau Street.
Mhm.
That's quite a bit bigger,
Right.
those houses, so.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I'm just, hi, it's Jim. I'm just trying to understand what I'm looking at here in some of the pictures that were submitted. So in the rear of the house, there's a structure with, lots of windows, one after another, after another, after another, after another. And that's, I think, what you're referring to in these plans is sort of the porch that's now being incorporated into the house. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, exactly. And that's becoming the family room. So that's kind of an existing porch with windows. It's in very bad shape, actually. And so now that'll be incorporated into,
Elizabeth, can you bring
make
that
a family
up,
room.
that photo?
No, keep going. That's
Yeah, right there. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So it's the same footprint. It's still going to be single story. It's just, we're kind of taking the walls down on the inside.
Okay, so that's going to be single story. So the second story, moving up in the second story is just above the existing house's first story.
Yep, exactly.
And then I think you said that you got a portico or something on the front door where the front door is.
Yes, just a little bit. We were able to add a couple more feet with the setback. Exactly.
Right. Oh, okay, that was actually, I think you've answered my last question, which is that moving that out doesn't affect the fact that this still would meet all the setback rules.
Exactly, yes. With the portico, we go from, and I did put that on here. So the only setback that does change is the front. And we are now going to be at 21.6. So we go from, I think it's 25 to 21.6. So we're still, and that's to the roof overhang. So we're still obviously within the setback of 20 feet. The front setback goes.
Okay, I'm set. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
I don't have any questions.
I don't either. It seems a modest ask for this and in keeping with the neighborhood. If there are no other questions from the board, I'll go ahead and open it up for public comment. Okay, I see no public comment. All right, okay, let's go ahead and close the public comment portion of the hearing, and I am happy to entertain a motion.
Jim is making a motion, but he's on mute.
Jim, you're on mute. Yeah, no. Yeah, oh, no. There you go.
Go ahead,
I
Jim.
thought I pushed, can you hear me now?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, sorry, I was actually on my computer reading the motion part, so I didn't see that I was off mute. So I would move that we grant a special permit to Peggy Dowcett's under section 7.1.3, 7.1.5, and 11.6 for construction of a 1,044 square foot addition on a 1,733 square foot dwelling that will increase the gross floor area by more than 50% on a non-conforming lot at 30 Walden Terrace. I just note for the record that the addition is a very modest additional amount of space over the existing house, essentially adding a second story and maintaining the footprint except for the front portico, which is also a modest change, so that it seems in keeping with the lot, the neighborhood, and even the existing house.
Second.
Great. All right, Jim Smith,
Aye.
Theo Kindermans,
Aye.
Elizabeth Akers Moore. Aye. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nice house.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, great. Moving right along. 7:25 hearing Matthew and Allison Ness. Oh, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Is Marshall McLean in here too? Is he?
Oh, he is, and he's raising his hand.
Okay, perfect. Because he'll be doing most of the speaking for us.
Okay, here we go. Hi, Marshall.
Good evening. I'm Marshall McLean. My office is at 199 Sudbury Road, and I'm the architect for the project for Matthew and Allison and Elise. We came before you 2 years ago for a special permit for the renovations and a detached garage to the house at 45 Derby Street, which was in Zone C. The lot was non-conforming, the house was not conforming, there was a lot non-conforming about it. And we received approval for the renovations and for the garage. The project was finished in 2019, I guess it was. But the detached garage was never built. We're still within the 2-year period for the special permit, so I think it's still active. So I guess this is an amendment, and we're asking for a change of use to the garage. Matthew and Allison would like to add a small amount of living space above the garage So there'll be a one-car garage with storage behind, a vestibule and a stair up to a story and a half space above. The original size of the garage was 16 by 24. We're proposing in footprint, and we're proposing a 16 by 26 footprint now. It's roughly in the same location. It's actually a little closer to the house and a little further away from the south lot line at 10 feet, whereas the original structure was proposed at 5.5 feet. As an aside, after the special permit was granted in 2018, there was a slice of land added to the property of about 4 feet wide from the street all the way back to the rear. So our total lot area is slightly larger. Okay.
No, Elizabeth's sharing the screen.
There it is. That's the existing plot plan now, with the little slice of land, the parcel A, that's been added to the property. And maybe you should scroll to the site plan, the proposed site plan, if you could, probably below that. So this is the proposed site plan with the proposed garage 10 feet to the wall, 9 feet to the eave, off of that, I guess, south lot line, with an surface parking space to the right. The gross floor area for the project is proposed as 2901, which includes all the renovations done in 2018-19 and the garage. That's the exact same gross floor area proposed back in 2018. And so the proposed garage structure now, with the space above 6'8" on the second floor, will be a total of 636 square feet, which is 244 square feet larger than was approved in 2018 for the garage, which was that they were approved 392 square feet. However, we've been able to balance that because there were two double wide dormers proposed for the attic space in the original project, which were not built. And that, in combination with some measuring of the actual 6'8" space under the eaves on both the second floor and the attic space, we came up with we came in under what was proposed for the gross floor area, so we've added that gross floor area to the garage.
Sorry, just to stop you there. So we approved 2901 originally,
Yes,
and you're at 2901.
and we're still at 2901.
Pretty
The FAR has actually gotten larger slightly.
okay.
The 50% number hasn't changed, because
Right.
it was 50% number was what it was back in 2018. So we are still above, we're 18% above for the non-conforming lot. And so it's a change of use from just a simply garage and storage. So this is the proposed, that's the existing house there, plans and elevations, and this is the proposed garage structure, which has an entryway on the side to a landing area and a stair up to a room on the second floor with a full bath in the rear, with two dormers towards the rear of the structure, and just bay windows on those dormers and a bay window on the front, and a single car door, overhead door. And you can see the elevations of the structure and the house behind on the proposed east elevation. I don't know if there are any other drawings. There's some square footage drawings, but I've reviewed the square footage drawings, the square footages with you.
Any questions from the board?
I've got one maybe for Elizabeth. So when we grant a special permit, I think there's usually what, 2 years or something like that to complete whatever the structure is or to work on the structure. So how does that, whatever that timing is, how does that affect this now where it's been almost 2 years, but now we're going to grant an amendment? Does that extend the time for finishing the garage or not? Maybe it doesn't matter to anyone. I'm just asking a question.
Well, the statute is once a special permit is issued, you have 2 years in which to act on that special permit.
Mm-hmm.
So by definition, acting on that special permit is the pulling of a building permit.
Okay.
Once you pull the building permit, you've acted on that special permit. And then through the building inspections division, as you move forward, with your building permit, some building permits for, new houses are open for, 2 years so there's no time frame in which that you have to finish the project within the 2 years for the special permit. You are just required to act on that special permit within those 2 years.
Which has happened here, so we're.
Right, well, they've acted on that, but so I'm just going to ask one more question of Ray, which is do they have to get, are they amending their building permit, or is there do they have to pull another one, or what's the deal here? Just
the original permit was closed out, so they didn't have to apply for a new permit.
Huh.
So would they have within the same 2 years from the beginning of this, or I'm just here's my thing. I think unless we have a stampede of neighbors here telling us that we're crazy, I think that this seems to make complete amount of sense. So I'm just trying to make sure that we've dotted the I's and crossed the T's so we don't run into a situation where we try to do everything we can to help them do this, and then there's some technical issue that if we'd have known about, we could have fixed tonight. So that's what I'm asking these
I
questions.
think like Elizabeth said, they have this special permit, they acted on it. So the special permit's still active. They have a special permit to build a detached garage. They haven't built the garage yet because they've changed their plans.
Okay, yeah, if everyone's comfortable, I'm comfortable. I'm just.
Tim, would it argue for not amending the existing permit, but having it be a new special permit? Yeah, Elizabeth, you're nodding.
It would, since the building permit that was issued under the first special permit has already been acted upon and closed, I think it would be, to Jim's point, cleaner that this just be issued as a new special permit. So basically they acted on that first special permit and they did not go through and build that garage. They've completed that construction. They've filed for basically a new special permit for this different 1-car garage instead of a 2-car garage.
Jim,
The original was not 2-car, but yeah. It was a 1-car before, yeah. Anyway.
Jim, does that accomplish kind of what you're?
Yeah, I'm happy to hear from anybody who wants to speak on this, and I'll probably hold off until that. But obviously, I've tipped my hand here, which is that I think this is a very solid, straightforward proposal, and my only issue at all, which I think between Elizabeth and Ray were solving, is to make sure we put this in a position where these folks, if we do grant this permit, will have the leeway they need to finish it, to get all the things they need so that they don't have to make another circle back. So
well, I'm not sure of the legality of it, but either way, the applicant's going to have to register how we record this special permit. It's either amended or a new one. So I don't think
Okay.
I don't know the legal aspects, but.
Right. Well, let's keep going with comment and we can circle back on this. Any other board member have a comment?
Yeah, I think I was thinking about the changing use or the adding of a habitable space, and I think that would make it maybe also a new special permit.
This is really an adventure.
And so that, you know, I'd be in favor of also issuing a new special permit rather than amending this. So.
Ravi, do you
I have a question to clarify. Is there a difference between this being office space or somebody being able to, say, live up there or functioning as an in-law apartment? Do we need to clarify the use?
Well, they can't live up there. I mean, first of all, there's no kitchen. And if the
Yeah.
special permit isn't for an additional dwelling unit.
Right.
We have plenty of detached garages like this throughout town.
Let me ask you a question. When you label it office, which makes are you going to be seeing people in that office? Is it going to?
No, it's usually our kids are jumping on Zoom calls by this point. So we've been fortunate from this standard, but to get stuff we have to get done at the house without the kids bothering us.
Labeling it an office, I don't know, Ravi, if this had, but it's not really an accessory use as an office. It's just more living space. Is that?
That's
Yeah. I just want to know if we need to clarify that anywhere in the permit, or it's just by definition, the permit we're granting wouldn't let you use it for somebody to live there or for you to have a home occupation, right?
I think by definition, we
If
would have
you did either one of those, I'd be getting a phone call or notification, and then we investigate to see if he was using it inappropriately.
They do not have permission unless they specifically ask for it for an accessory, for an additional dwelling unit, if that's what you're saying, Ravi. So I don't think it's an issue.
Good. Okay. That makes sense.
Unless someone else on the board disagrees. Okay. Any other comments? I will open it up to the public then. Any questions or comments from the public? Nope. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close public comment portion. I agree with what Jim said. This seems very reasonable to me. I don't have any issues with it. Any other viewpoints? Okay.
I will make a motion to issue a special permit under section 7.1.
Theo, sorry, that we've all decided that this should be a new special permit and not an amendment to.
Right, I thought it's a new special permit under section 7.1.3, 7.1.5, and 11.6 of the zoning bylaw to modify a previously approved garage plan at 45 Derby Street, parcel 2464 for Matthew and Alison and Eve. I don't think there were any conditions, right?
Well, to the
I think
extent that
just
there
pointing
were,
out
they
the
would
fact-
be the, oh, sorry, Robbie, go ahead.
I think you're about to say the exact same thing, Jim. That
Oh,
it's
go
about,
ahead.
it's going to be the same square footage as the board had previously, total square footage the board had previously approved.
And the same conditions as in the original sort of plan, if you will, as otherwise. Yeah, I'd only just make the observation here that, you know, this is, even as a new permit, this is very consistent. I think this is very consistent with the neighborhood. I think this is a, you know, very thoughtful plan, was a thoughtful plan to begin with. I think this garage idea with the reconfigured garage is very appropriate within the neighborhood. And I just think it's, you know, really is not at all to the detriment of the neighborhood, which is really our standard. So I would heartily approve it.
Looking at the Google Street View, I think the first phase of this project was executed very nicely. So.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion. We have a second. Theo Kindermans.
Aye.
Jim Smith.
Aye.
Elizabeth Akers Moore. Aye. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
You just didn't want to label "get away from the kids" space.
Please, yeah, I mean, yeah.
What?
Basically.
Thank
All right,
you,
take care,
everyone.
guys.
Okay, have a
Have a
good
good
night.
night.
Okay, moving on to our 7:30 hearing. Donald J. Fox Jr. Do we have Donald? Yes, no?
Could he raise his hand?
Donald J. Fox. Oh, there's a hand being raised.
Brianna Fox.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. It's like their daughter's computer, but it's Donald
Sorry.
Fox.
Hi, how are you?
Our computer's not working and no one's coming to the house to fix it, so.
So you rely on your daughter. That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
My name's Donald Fox. My wife's Christina.
Hi.
We're proposing to apply for a special permit to build an in-law in our basement. The house has been there, the basement's been there, and the house has been there since 1964. And we are going to stay within the existing basement confines and just build out one bedroom. Based on the square footage, we are, let me just look at my notes here. The existing house basement and first floor is 3,164 square feet. The proposed addition dwelling in the basement would be 957 square feet. So that's less than the 1/3 that's required. That's pretty much what we're looking to do.
Okay, and that was a change you made recently, so I don't know if that's reflected on these plans, the square footage.
Ray and I just kind of tightened it up, made sure it was right, and that's what we came up with.
Okay, so what we're looking at right now is the 957.
Correct.
Hello.
Elizabeth, originally, that common space area where the elevator is and the storage, that was included in the additional dwelling previously.
Okay.
And that would have exceeded the 1/3.
Okay, but since it's common area, it's not counted.
Right.
I can't
There's
hear
an
you.
elevator that goes up to the first floor.
Okay.
So that common area. Don and his wife will have access to the basement, and his in-laws will have access to the first floor through the elevator. So that makes a common area.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Is this on sewer?
Right, the sewer improvement fee has been paid.
Yep, sewer.
Robbie, was that your question? If the improvement fee had been paid, or?
Yeah, that was my only question.
Yeah, it's paid and it's all connected.
Great.
Ray or Elizabeth, any other comments on this?
No, I reviewed it and it meets all the criteria, section 4222, the A through L, it meets all that criteria.
Okay, great. The certificate of occupancy was issued, you said, a long time ago, so that's good. Any other questions from the board? Okay, let's go ahead and open up to the public. Any comments from the public? Okay, I don't see any, so we'll go ahead and close public comment section. It seems pretty straightforward to me as well, and if it meets all of 4222, I think I have no issue with it. Any other comments from the board?
No, I'm happy to take the motion here. So I'd move approval of a special permit for Donald J. Fox Jr. under sections 4.2.2.2 and 11.6 for an additional dwelling unit at 16 Miriam Road. Recognizing the new plans that we've received, which now conform to the requirement for no more than 1/3 of the space, and the work of the building commissioner to run through the criteria of A through L and 4.2.2.2 and provide assurances that all those criteria have been met.
Second.
Great. Jim Smith.
Aye.
Theo Kindermans.
Aye.
Elizabeth Akers Moore. Aye. Thank you so much.
Can I just make one comment here?
Absolutely.
So 4222, this special permit should, it doesn't transfer to sale of the house. The new buyer would have to reapply.
Right.
So I think that should be.
You guys know that, correct?
Yeah.
Applicants,
Yes.
Donald and Christina, yeah.
Yes.
So this is just for you guys. Okay, that's great. Well, you are all set. Thank you so much and have a good night.
Great.
you.
Thank you so much. You
Well,
too. Stay
good
healthy.
luck.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I still think this is kind of weird, but you know. Are we at 7:30?
Faster.
But you guys
Yeah,
are,
I guess.
you're doing great.
Anyone else? You don't have to tell people to move further down the hallway to stop
Quiet
talking.
down.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. How are you? All right. We are ready to hear your presentation. 7:35, Matthew Bullock.
Great. I'm Matthew Bolek. This is my wife, Kira. We're 649 Cambridge Turnpike. Came here to request a special permit under 7.1.3 and 7.1.5 and 11.6 to allow for construction of our home. The existing structure currently is 1,750 square feet. The proposal would increase the square footage area by 2,562 feet to a total of 4,312 feet. The lot size is 45,041 square feet. The lot is 179 feet of frontage, which makes that conforming. The max floor area for this lot size would be 12,900 square feet. However, it is non-conforming due to the southern corner of the house, which is putting into this, right there, which is put into this appeal process here. According to the non-conforming property, the max GFA allowed by right would be 2625. So we're looking for a special permit for this addition. And as you can see on the layout, what we're trying to do is we're adding a 2-car garage as well as an addition to our home. And these are the plans right here.
Yeah. Okay. I guess to start, Ray or Elizabeth, any comments on this?
No, I mean, the proposed addition meets all zoning setbacks. It's way under the 35-foot height restriction. They've already received NRC approval. They will need to apply for submit a tree bylaw application, and they already have Board of Health review.
Yeah, we've gotten the preservation tree bylaw. We've gotten approval for that as well.
Okay.
Any questions from board?
Not right now. I'm happy to go ahead to the public.
Okay,
Yep.
let's go ahead and do that then. Let's go to public comment. I can't see when you're sharing your screen if anyone's. Chris, are you?
Nothing.
All right. Great. I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. Jim, back to you. Did you have anything after public comment?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to hear if there was any thoughts. I mean, I think in my case, I think this is obviously it's a very significant increase in the size of the house, in part, and the size of the property in part due to the garage, obviously. It's going to be a big part of that. I think that the size of the house that it's going to be is, well within the range of what you see on Cambridge Turnpike, of course. So I think it's very much in keeping with the neighborhood, and absent any concerns raised by anyone, of which there were none, I feel really.
I do have to say there is a Q&A, and I don't know if that came in after.
It looks like Pamela Dritt had raised her hand a little too late and has a question. I don't know if you want to go with the Q&A or give her a.
It just came in. It relates to this one.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. It says, "Hi, I'm Pamela Dritt, just an interested citizen from Concord Green, and wondering why so big," which is exactly what Jim is talking about right now. So
Right.
Big in the context of the neighborhood. What you're saying is it's not.
No, I mean, there's it's a varied housing stock down Cambridge Turnpike, of course, but I don't think that, we're talking about 1 acre lots, and we're talking about a section of town where this kind of size house is not going to seem to be dominant. So I think that you also probably have a situation, have these facts in front of me, but it does seem to me that there's probably a number of conforming lots along here. And so, you know, insofar as there's some smaller houses, they'll probably become bigger all by themselves without anything from us. So.
Ray, Elizabeth, or Heather, is that something you can get at your fingertips?
I'm looking right now in the GIS. I have the layer on for conforming lots. And it looks like the whole neighborhood's pretty much conforming.
The whole
Yeah,
neighborhood.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I think with this
when you
lot too, the
go down there, it just looks like everything should be pretty, unless, you know, people were crazy. It looks like people should have been able to do these lots.
Robbie, sorry.
Yeah, the nonconformity here isn't because it's, you know, frontage or lot size. It's just the corner of the house going over the setback, which is historical and who knows why. But I don't think the reason for the nonconformity gives rise to a concern about the size here.
No, and I think that, and that's somewhat of the answer to why so big is almost why not, because if you're in an area of conforming lots, this neighborhood will grow to a size that it's going to be, and I don't think that what they're asking to do here is outside the outside the nature of the neighborhood, even as it exists.
I agree with both Jim and Robbie on this. Any other board members?
All set.
I just want to note, Pamela had a follow-up question saying, you know, why so big, and then big in terms of an overall one-family dwelling. But I think we understand that, you know, even for a one-family dwelling, a lot of the houses we're seeing and that people want to live in and build on this size of lot are in that range.
Elizabeth, we can unmute her if you want to hear from her.
I think we've answered this question. And it always comes up, I know, why are we approving things when the town has passed a bylaw saying that we want smaller housing? And it's two different issues. This is asking for an increase over the gross floor area as opposed to the, help me out here, Elizabeth, in talking, in terms of the maximum floor area. So they technically would be entitled to build a 12,900 square foot house. And this is much smaller than that. I think we're looking at whether the other lots in the area could also go ahead and build without even coming before us the same size house that is being proposed here, which is a 4,300 square foot house. And the answer is yes. So our ability to shape the character of the neighborhood in terms of small houses, in my mind, and I think from what we're saying, first of all, is already gone. There are a lot of big houses down there. And second of all, we're not going to have a say in what the other houses are, how big they're built if they do become larger. To me, that kind of answers that question. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything else.
I'm just glad they're not on a conforming lot building a 12,900 square foot.
Yeah, so that puts the 4,300 in perspective.
And I think the design kind of adds on thoughtfully to the existing dwelling and just sort of puts a garage and a little bit of an addition on it without totally reshaping or redoing the massing or nature of the house. So I think that helps as well.
Okay. And Pamela, we got a thank you from you, so I hope that answered your question.
Elizabeth, I'd also add, I currently don't think there is a garage, correct?
No, there isn't.
Yeah, so part of this increase in square footage is directly due to just a 2-car garage.
Correct.
So that's, you know, part of, it's not a 4,000 square foot living area. I mean, 900 and something is garage.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I will go ahead and entertain a motion if someone has one.
I'm just finding I'm happy to do it. I was just finding. So that we grant a special permit to Matthew Bolak under section 7.1.3, 7.1.5, 11.6 of the zoning bylaw to construct a 3,562 square foot addition on a, is that right? So it's the right numbers? I thought you said it was 2,500.
That's the size of the addition. Was 2,000 to a final.
Yeah, I know, but
The
as it's written
application.
in our agenda here, it would add up to like 5,200 square
Yeah.
feet, but I think there's a typo. So it's like a 2562 square foot addition on a 1,750 square foot dwelling
Correct.
that will increase the gross floor area by more than 50% on a non-conforming lot at 649 Cambridge Turnpike. And the decision will reflect, I think, our discussion about the fact that it fits within we think it fits within the current character of the neighborhood. There are also a lot of conforming lots, which means that the character of the neighborhood can and likely will change to even larger homes. And that the proposed house, is thoughtfully designed in terms of the current lot and the current location, so it doesn't add to a lot of massing along the road.
Second.
Great. Jim Smith.
Aye.
Theo Kindermans.
Aye.
Elizabeth Akers Moore. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Thanks, good luck.
Okay, moving on to our, what I think is supposed to be 740 Now Communities LLC, who has requested a continuance until the next hearing or further? Elizabeth, oh.
I would say they didn't specify, so I would say to June 11th. If it needs to be continued again, we can do it again.
Okay.
Elizabeth, it says on the agenda that the applicant has requested a continue to June 11th.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so we're at 7:05 for June 11th. Someone wants to make a motion?
I make a motion to continue the special permit hearing under sections 10 and 11.6 of the zoning bylaw for a 14-unit planned residential development at 1651, 1657, and 165X Main Street, parcels 2685, 2686, and 2687 for Now Communities to 6/11/2020.
At 7:05 p.m.
7:05? Okay.
Second.
Great. Theo Kindermans.
Aye.
Jim Smith.
Aye.
Elizabeth Akers Moore. Aye.
Can I just ask a question with respect to this, which is where are they in connection with the planning board process of this?
So they've met once with the planning board. It was a good meeting. There have been some issues and concerns raised by town staff for different things. The access and emergency vehicle access and working with I think Westvale Meadow and the on-site sewage disposal system and the stormwater drainage, and it's just working out all of those details. They've also been working very close with the adjacent Riverwalk development and looking at doing some unified improvements to the entranceway and having a one trash and recycling area for both developments, and kind of utilizing the space in a more cohesive way, which has required some changes to the plans. I believe they are intending on submitting those plans in the next day or tomorrow. The planning board did continue their discussion to their May 26th meeting. I'm not sure if town staff will have time to review the revised plans in a week, but they may be making a presentation on May 26th, and then likely it would be continued to the board's June 9th meeting for them to prepare their recommendation. That would be my guess.
Okay, thank you.
Great. So I guess let's move on to the decision deliberation for 1440 Main Street. Everyone has received it and reviewed it, and are there comments? I would say thank you for Jim. I know you worked on this also with Elizabeth. Thank you guys for spending so much time on it.
All I would thank, you're welcome. All I would say in terms of sort of the theory that at least I had in mind while I was working on the draft here was to try to reflect what I understood to be the zoning board's what I thought to be the sentiment of the zoning board in a couple of areas. The first is that although the planning board had recommended that the special permit be granted, it had done so with a series of conditions that were quite material to the project, particularly condition number 1, which was in many parts and went to the issues of, you know, adding more density in terms of more duplexes, triplexes, and other sorts of issues, which I think all went to many of those items went to the heart of the criteria under the PRD. And so I at least, and I think others on the board, when we reviewed this, took that planning board recommendation as being that if they didn't, if the developer was not willing to make those changes, that we could have anticipated the planning board, you know, may have come out with a different outcome with respect to the permit. And I think the second thing that I was trying to reflect was a sentiment that I understood, and I think Ravi did a really good job at the meeting of pointing this out, which was the sense that it was just a bit too much, you know, what was there, although there did a lot of nice things. They did them sort of within the context of what you'd kind of expect from a subdivision. You know, sort of this similar size houses, similar size, you know, array, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that doesn't take away from the fact that the applicant here had not tried in many, many cases to be thoughtful and respectful of neighbors. And when I served on the planning board, I think people in regular subdivisions, developers tended to try to do that as well. So, but rather that what we were left with was just not enough of a change from what a subdivision would have been to justify in our minds, at least at that time, and certainly my mind right now, the granting of the special permit, that it just didn't meet the criteria of Section 10 without, you know, some of the changes that the planning board had recommended.
And Tim, I think you did a great job in this in getting us to what we were struggling with in response to what the planning board had said, and exactly what you just said, getting how our thoughts aligned with what the planning board had recommended. So I thought this was very well done, and I didn't any major comments with it. Any other thoughts?
No, I totally agree with that, Elizabeth. This, Jim, and this was a very nice job writing this, very clear and succinct. And I do think that it does reflect the board's feelings, thoughts very, very well. So thank you again for writing this up so well.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
I believe Ravi had some comments.
Yeah, no, I agree. It does a great job. It captures, you know, the substance of what the board had considered and decided. I had some very minor comments, which I'm happy to go through. The first one is we note that they stated that they would commit to a HERS rating of 50 with at least 10 homes on spec at 36. But my recollection is that when the developer then made the commitment to no fossil fuel tie-in, they withdrew the commitment to the HERS rating.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that was clear. If we're going to say they committed to the HERS rating, I think we should be clear that they later decommitted to that on the fossil fuel tie-ins. And it may be worth mentioning that they also asked for propane tanks or propane tanks to be available, which at least one member of the public had voiced sort of objection to in terms of meeting the use of only electrical utilities condition. I thought that detail might be helpful to just give more context to what we say about the environmental.
So Robbie, is it your suggestion that the, we'll go back to.
So I think you could say the applicant originally,
Yep.
instead of
So
has
it's-
stated, yeah.
So it's this section right here?
Yeah, so I think it first just start with a quick one is to just change the word has, the third word of that sentence to originally.
Yeah, perfect.
So that it would read the applicant originally stated that the project would have home energy rating, et cetera, et cetera. And then I would just add at the end, thereafter, the applicant committed to, I don't know how we're going to say the no fossil fuel. I'm not sure what those right words are, but and
No fossil fuel. Yeah.
Tie-ins or connections, yeah.
Tie-ins or connections, and maybe just drop a parenthetical, other than propane. I don't know. And withdrew the tanks, cooking, period.
It was cooking.
Fireplaces,
Cooking in fireplaces, right?
Yes, that's right.
And fireplaces, and then I'd just do a period, and then I would say, consequently, the applicant withdrew the pledge with respect, the commitment with respect to the HERS rating.
Commitment with respect to, do you want to say instead?
Yeah,
Commitment.
that's what, yeah, commitment with respect to the HERS rating. That's good by me. That's a good catch.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and on page, if we scroll down to page 4, the second paragraph, where it says, after due consideration of the application, the record, a presentation, and review of the issues. I don't know if we want to mention due consideration of public comment as well, or if we think that's covered by the record.
I think that's covered by the record personally, but.
I do.
Okay. That's fair enough. And let's see. And then at the bottom of page 4, there's that last bullet there. Which is only not sufficiently diverse with the inclusion of more duplex or triplex units. Can we say or smaller, or units of smaller square footage as recommended by the planning board? Because I think if you look at the text of their condition.
Smaller unit square footage. I mean, if we're going to do that, do you want to do the whole thing and say smaller unit square footage and incorporation of more one-car garages? I mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're putting the whole thing in. I don't know if, I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, I guess the one-car garages make sense there too.
With the diversity, yeah. Smaller squares, or
Yeah, I think that works.
you want to say with the inclusion of more duplex triplexes, smaller square footage. Why don't you say inclusion of one or more duplex or triplex units, one car garages, comma, or smaller square footage? Does that make more sense?
That's probably an and or, but yeah, otherwise. Well, it's probably an and. I mean, if you look at it back a couple of pages before that, the planning, Elizabeth quoted the text, which said a combination of, I guess is what they referred to, smaller square unit incorporation or inclusion of duplexes. So if we use a combination of at the beginning of that, I think we're fine.
Okay. And you would take out the inclusion, right? Or combination of.
Yeah, I would probably put more the combination of, yeah. More duplex units, one car garages, you know, or.
Yeah, or smaller.
Or smaller unit, square, whatever it is. Smaller unit, square footage.
Smaller unit square footage, yeah. Square footage.
You probably don't need that page break anymore either. It doesn't break there, it's not going to ever break.
And just the very last line, you know, we say for the reasons set forth and referenced above, the board finds, you know, blah, blah, blah. Do we want to say, you know, referenced above and discussed it or discussed at the meeting, or we think the discussion at the meeting is referenced above?
I think I'd leave it. I might even just say the reason set forth above myself, but that's.
Yeah.
Set forth and reference, yeah, for the reason.
No. So right here, is that supposed to be?
Oh, here we're way at the, I think we're way at the.
Like the last sentence of the
11.6, right? The last sentence, the whole thing.
Right, so I'm just, okay, you're down here?
Yeah.
It was above that, though. You said it also above it.
I guess my point is, do we want to sort of have a catch-all for, you know, we may not have written down in this document every single thing we discussed or kind of thought were good reasons for what we found.
So what that moreover for all the reasons set forth and in the record or something in the, would that do it, Robbie?
Yeah.
And included in the.
Yeah, although, yeah, it's.
I would say referenced, and I would say and set forth and.
So referenced in the preceding section and in the record.
For all the reasons set forth above and, or set forth in the, why don't we say set forth above? No?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I was making the comment for a different sentence at the end of the document, but maybe it applies here too.
Does that work?
Well, there's a set forth in
Yeah.
the preceding section and in the record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. I'm with you, Jim. I don't think you need the and reference, but that's fine.
Right.
And then go back down to the one that you were talking about is.
It's like the last sentence of the whole document. So for the reasons set forth and referenced above, I guess we can say and in the record.
Right, right. Yeah, you're right. Almost there, Elizabeth. There you are. Yeah, you got it. So I wouldn't do the, I would take out the reference to above and just say set forth above.
and in the section above where we did it.
I just say this one's above. This is all above. I think this one gets everything.
Set forth and referenced in the preceding section. All right, that's fine. Okay, I see what you're saying. Wow, talk about drafting by committee, huh?
Are you good?
All right, that was it for me.
Okay. Elizabeth, I know we talked about the kind of clarifying the square footages. Were you guys comfortable? Were you and Heather comfortable?
Yes.
Fantastic. Do we need to make a motion to approve this decision?
Yes, yes, you do.
Okay.
As amended.
Okay, is it just as simple as to say that we move to approve the decision with respect to this, whatever it is, as amended?
Correct.
Okay, I move to approve the zoning board of appeals decision with respect to the application of Sims Development and Permitting, Inc. Variations in special permits under section 7.5, 10, 11.6, and 11.7 of the zoning bylaw for a 34 unit planned residential development at 1440, 1450, 146B Main Street, Concord, as amended.
Second.
Great. Jim Smith.
Aye.
Hugh Kindermans.
Aye.
Elizabeth Akers Moore. Aye. And that's it. I guess I'll go ahead and ask if anyone in the audience who's left, the three of you, have anything further. Are we all done here?
That's it. That's your agenda.
Great. So I don't see any hands being raised.
Okay.
Or
Cool.
Oh wait, there is a hand. Sorry. There's a hand.
So Elizabeth, you would actually have to formally open a public comment period. Your deliberation on that draft decision, there is no public comment. So the board deliberated and took action.
All right. So that being said, are there still comments? Oh, Pamela asked, Pamela Dritt, I'm not sure what just happened. We had already made a decision on a planned residential development, and we were just
at your last meeting, the board voted to deny a planned residential development application at 1440, 1450 Main Street. The board then has 90 days in which to file your decision with the town clerk. So from the close of the public hearing, the board drafted a decision for denial. The board just reviewed that draft decision, deliberated on that decision, made some amendments to that decision, and then voted to accept that decision for denial.
Well said.
So I hope that answers Ms. Dirt's question. Great, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, fantastic. Well, this has been an interesting experience, everyone. Maybe we'll do it again.
We almost assuredly.
I think you're going to be doing it again.
I'm sorry, can we just do a roll call to, I know it sounds ridiculous to adjourn.
Yep, you do need to.
Yeah, I'm just going to click off and you won't have a.
I was going to say.
Aye.
Theo Kindermans.
Aye.
Elizabeth Akers Moore. Aye. Have a good night, everyone.
Don't forget Ravi.
Good night, folks.
Oh, Ravi, you need to vote too. Ravi.
No, I need to.
Bye.
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 Bye, everyone.